As a brand new business owner or entrepreneur, one of the common questions you might be having right now is, how the heck do I create a website? How do I build a website that represents my brand, my products, my services, so I can actually grow my business and get those sales? And this is probably the first question I typically get from my students and clients. In this video, I'm gonna share with you what your website should include, how to create it, even if you're a beginner and you've never done it before, and how to get started right away. Now, this video is sponsored by Zyro, which is the most affordable website builder on the market. And I'm gonna show you how you can start in actually building your own website. And I'm really excited to tell you more about them a little bit later in this video. So when it comes to creating a website for a business, there's obviously a lot of elements you need to keep in mind. And there's actually two different types of websites that you can create. The first type of website is, I would say, more perfect for beginners and especially for personal brands or freelancers that don't necessarily want to have like a brand, a company where there's many different things going on. And that's just a simple one-page website where you can incorporate all the essential things about you, what you can provide, any specific testimonials, and a contact section. And that could all just be on one page. So if you're, for example, focusing on networking or maybe organic marketing, and you're not planning on sending a lot of people to your website, having a one-pager is typically a good thing to get started with. Now, most people want to be really known. Most people, if you're a coach or a service provider, or even if you sell products or like digital products, you're probably gonna want people to see you as a company, not just like a freelancer, but a brand, right? So having an actual multi-page website is going to be the better fit for you. So a multi-page website is just a website that you typically see out there where you go, you see a navigation bar. If you look at my website, for example, you can see on the very top, there's a navigation bar. There's a few different pages that you can click on and dive deeper to learn more about me, my services, what I stand for, and that sort of thing. In this video, I'm going to specifically focus on having a website with multiple pages. So what pages should your website have? Typically, there's 5 different pages your website should have. There may be more, but I would say that's kind of the minimum. So number 1, you need a homepage. The homepage is what your people are going to first land on. So when people go on heartbehindhustle.com, they land on the homepage. And the homepage has a lot of different elements. We're not gonna dive too deeply into what each page needs to include in depth, but I'll give you an idea so you can start working on it on your own. So the homepage, what are you working on right now? What's your big headline? What's your big promise? And then having a few testimonials and really showcasing your product or service and having a clear call to action for the next step. The next page you want to have is an about page. Now, a huge mistake that people typically make is they try to make their about page about themselves, right? So if I had Heart Behind Hustle, my about page is like, here's me, I'm Kamila, nice to see you, I do this and I do that. And there's a time and space for that for sure. But what you need to understand, when people, as a business, when people go on your website and they're interested in potentially buying your services or products, they actually don't really care about you that much. They care about whether your product or service is a right fit for them. Most of these people, they really just care about themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. You only care about yourself too. Until you make someone care, they're not gonna wanna know that you have 5 cats and you like to eat yogurt. Like, they don't really care about that. You make them care through marketing and social media and that sort of thing, but that's not what we're talking about today. Everything on your website, and especially the about page, is really about your ideal customer, your ideal client. So when they land on your about page, who are you talking to? Call the person out. You know, you want this. You are looking for help with blah, 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 and here's how I can help. So you always want to start with what do they care about? What are they looking for? And then segue it into, here's what I can do to help you. So it's not about how you live in San Diego and you like long walks on the beach. It's how can I help you? It has to be niche specific. It has to be specific to the outcome you can help this person achieve. That's all they care about, and that's what they're gonna pay you. Now, at the very bottom of the about page, you can have a little section about you. You can have a bio, you can have a little bit more of an expanded look into that personality. This is where you can say you live in San Diego, you have 5 cats or whatever, but I would leave that towards the very end of the about page. If you look on my website, for example, I have a whole little timeline of my entrepreneur journey, and people like seeing just the experience that I've had so that they feel more safe in investing in my services. The next most obvious page you need to have is work with with me or services page. So if you provide done for you services, maybe you're a social media manager, you have a marketing agency, or you're a coach or a yoga teacher or whatever, you want to have a page that actually tells people, here are the services that I can provide. Here are the things that I can help you with, person. Here are the things that I can do for you. And a huge mistake that people make here is they try to overload their ideal client with all the things that can help them with. Here's the thing. If you have more than, I would say, 3 options on the services page, people are going to get overwhelmed and they're going to doubt whether they're making the right decision by choosing one of these however many options. So my recommendation is to focus on just one option that you focus on, or 2 or 3, no more than 3 in most cases. Now, there are obviously always exceptions to this rule. There's always exceptions. Strategically, you'll have to make sure it makes sense for you. But if you're brand new in business and you don't yet have a website, I would recommend on just focusing on like 2 things. If you're a coach, private coaching packages, free consultation call, and that's it. And you don't have to even share your pricing on the private coaching if you don't want to. It kind of depends. There's a lot of strategic things that you can do I'm not going to talk about in this video, but don't include more. Don't include more because you're going to confuse people. They're not going to see you as the person to help me with blank. They're going to see you as someone that kind of dabbles in a bunch of things. We know the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. They don't want to hire and pay a high ticket price for master of none. They want to hire the master. So you want to position yourself as the master, which is someone that actually knows what they're doing and specializes in something. That's my recommendation for anyone that's new in business. Next, you want to have a contact page. People will want to contact you if they are interested in learning more about your services, if they're interested in having you maybe speak on their podcast and do an interview, if they're wanting to just send you a love note. This is a very simple part of your website, just a very simple page that's like, contact me, fill out your name, your email, and a little message that you want to send to me. And that's that. Very, very simple, but a lot of people miss it. And then they're worried and confused about why people aren't reaching out. Well, it's because you didn't make it easy for them to reach out. Something you can potentially incorporate on the contact page is any social media profiles, as well as a FAQ page, frequently asked questions. So you can answer some common questions that people have. How often do you work with clients? Can I hire you anytime? How long are the sessions? Or do you accept guest posts? Various questions that you might be getting a lot from your potential customers or potential audience. And then lastly, this is optional, but you can also include a blog. I would only do this if you actually love creating content and you want to get people to your website through SEO, which is search engine optimization. So you're going to have to create consistent blog posts, making them SEO optimized. We're not going to talk about that today, but it is a really valuable option to grow your blog, grow your website, get new people in front of you when they're typing things into Google that you might potentially pop up. So if you have that as part of your vision to create content and putting it out there outside of just social media, then I would recommend including a blog as a part of your website. Now, before we dive into what it looks like to build out the website, I want to tell you a few realities that you need to consider when building and creating that website. So specifically as a beginner, you always want to keep in mind that you are building the website for your ideal clients. So you always want to remember the goal isn't to showcase just you and how great you are. The goal is to showcase how you can help someone. How can your product or service help someone? How is it relevant for them? Why should they listen to you? Why should they care? It's always about them. It's really rarely ever about you. So you want to always create your copy, your images, the whole vibe based on that understanding. The second piece is you're also going to want to take some time to figure out your brand, and your brand can change. I have a different video where I talk more about branding and rebranding, so you can check those out. But you want to identify a few things that will be crucial to your brand strategy specifically. There's specific colors you want to use. If you have a logo, you want to incorporate those pieces into the website because that's where everything kind of pulls together. And your website and your brand is meant to have a specific type of energy associated with it. So when people see you on this website, they feel a certain way. So I want you to ask yourself, how do I want people to feel when they visit my website? What do I want them to walk away with? What do I want them to know when they land on this website? And how can I showcase that in my specific business? And the last thing I want to say is, especially if you are a coach, a service provider, or you just work with clients specifically, or even if you're a done-for-you provider, I highly encourage you to also not to forget to include pictures of you on the website. It is very common that as service providers, you might start using some stock photos from stock photo sites, and they're great. I like using them as long as they look authentic and real and not like every other website, right? We'll find some like really more unique photos. There's tons of different websites that you can find that provide free or low cost stock photo options, but also incorporate photos of you. Get a photo shoot done, right? Or maybe just use a nice camera or even just your iPhone and add some pictures at least to the about page so people actually know who they're talking to. Now, if you sell products or digital products, I would say for digital products, still include some pictures of you. For physical products, people might not care as much about who you are, and maybe you actually don't even want to showcase yourself, and that's okay. I would say for e-commerce, physical products, you definitely have more of a leeway in terms of not showing your face, in which case you really want to showcase the products. Make sure that the physical products you have look beautiful. They look great. Like you spend the time capturing them in the way they're meant to be used, whether it's you using them, a model using them just kind of put somewhere in a really nice place, because that is actually what's going to speak to people and it'll be a huge reason why people do or do not want to buy your products. Now, a huge concern that people typically have is how much is it going to cost me to build my website? How much time is it going to take me to build my website? Should I hire this out? Should I do it myself? I would say if you're new in business, I highly encourage you to start by building out your own website, unless you have a decent sized budget, in which case you can of course hire it out. But I would say most of my students and clients end up making their own website, at least in the first 1 or 2 years in business. And there's many different options out there on the market. I have used various options. A really amazing option that I came across, I was contacted by Zyro. It is actually a really incredible tool to help you build your own website where you don't need any coding knowledge, you don't need a huge budget. It's actually the most affordable website builder on the market, which is amazing. I'm gonna show you what that looks like in just a moment. They also have live chat support. They're really on it. This is why I wanted to show you what Zyro looks like, so you can actually get out there and build your website like today and start on it today. So we're gonna hop over to my computer. I'm gonna show you how it looks like when you log into Zyro. All right, so this is Zyro. So this is the most affordable website builder out there that I know of. So I'm really excited to show you what it looks like. And just from the very beginning, you can see that there's a lot of options to get started, including using a template or an AI website generator, or you can just start from scratch if you already know design and know what to do in terms of that. But I usually recommend starting with their AI website generator, especially when you are a new entrepreneur. So that's what we're gonna dive into in this one. So the first question, you want to answer a few questions, just like, do you sell products? Do you have an e-commerce business? And I don't have an e-commerce business. I have a personality brand, so I'm going to say no. You can specify what type of business you have, and then you get to choose a theme in terms of visual style. I think this is just so amazing for anyone that just wants something to be really easy. You get to choose some of the pages that you want to be available on your website, so you get to click through and choose the ones that you want, as well as anything else that isn't already included from the previous page. And then it's generating your website. I'm gonna tell you, this is so cool. So we're gonna go ahead and check out the website. So there's 2 options that we have available on the bottom. You get to preview them and you get to choose the design. So if I wanna preview and see how it looks, I get to do that. And I'm gonna go with this first one. I just think that with the background color and everything, it just looks much better. So we're gonna start with that. And from here, you get to customize it. You get to change things up. You get to change the background images or add colors. You get to add sections. You can see that all the navigation bar things on the top, you can change them out. And this is typically the order I would recommend putting the website in. From there, you get to just really make it your own. This is like the coolest thing because it's a full-fledged website that's basically ready for you. And you don't really have to do that much for it aside from customizing it. So especially when you're new in business, you just, as long as you have photography, or even if you don't, you can use their free images. They have different stock photos that you can use if you want to search for various keywords like coach or fitness or Zen or whatever it is that you do. It does make it a lot easier so that you can really build it out in the way that works for you, including moving things around literally. Like this is, yeah, it's just really cool. So I am excited for you to try it out if you resonate. And if you have any questions, they do have a really great customer support as well. So definitely check them out. And I look forward to seeing your websites as well after that. Now, if you want to get started with Zyro, I actually have a special discount for you guys. So you can get up to 71% off plus 3 months free when you join on an annual plan. Just use coupon code HEARTBEHINDHUSTLE at checkout and use the link underneath this video to get started.